Today I'm going to be comparing the only two LEGO Star Wars battle packs that include a swamp speeder, taking a look at their boxes, to their minifigures, to their build and their overall accuracy, and to their overall value. On the left we have 75035 Kashyyyk Troopers. This set was released on January of 2014 and retired in July of 2015. It has 99 pieces and it retailed for $13. Although if you want to buy this set new today, it is going for around $100 to $120. And then on the right we had the new 332nd Ahsoka's Clone Trooper battle pack that just released on August 1st of this year with 108 pieces and a retail price of $20. Oh, how the times have changed. Now taking a look at the very first thing you notice when you get a LEGO set, which is the box. The art on the box for the Kashyyyk Troopers battle pack is overall very vibrant and playful compared to the cleaner and more modern and minimalistic look of the 332nd battle pack's box art. You can tell the times have changed as the older boxes have a lot more images packed onto them and the newer ones are more minimalistic and modern looking, and in my opinion I think they look more appealing when you're looking to buy a set, although the art of Darth Vader reaching out on the 2014 box art is one of my favorites to this day. Moving on to the figures, starting off with the Kashyyyk Troopers battle pack, you're going to get 4 figures. 2 of them are going to be plain Phase 2 41st Elite Troopers, and the other are going to be 41st Elite Scout Troopers. And these were very revolutionary when they came out, as LEGO had not made a 41st Elite Scout Trooper since 2005, which came in the Turbo Tank, which was a pretty expensive set, so obviously the figure became pretty valuable and hard to find. But then LEGO decided to make a more modern version and put it in a battle pack, and it looked absolutely incredible. And underneath these Clone Troopers helmets, you're going to find an angry clone face that was used from about 2014 to 2020. And overall, these are great figures for a battle pack, and it's very straightforward for army building. Although the main downside, which was the downside for this battle pack and many others at the time, is that they came with those massive stud shooter guns. Moving on to the 332nd Troopers, you get a little bit more of a variety, as you have 2 jetpack troopers, a normal trooper, and then Captain Vaughn. The jetpack troopers and the normal trooper are both exactly the same, minus obviously the jetpack. Their prints look really good. I love the prints on the helmet, and they basically have the same torso and leg printing as the 501st Troopers. And then on the back, of course, they have the same printing, although the jetpack troopers is covered up by their jetpack. And then obviously I can't forget to talk about the helmet holes. Yes, when you're looking straight on, the helmets are pretty unappealing. Again, I just hope LEGO finds a solution to that very soon. And honestly, if that just means removing the helmet holes, I think removing the helmet holes from normal troopers and just leaving them for captains would be the best option. And then underneath their helmet, you're going to find the newer Clone Trooper face print that is a little bit darker and not as expressive as the older one. Now speaking of captains, moving on to Captain Vaughn, his helmet is exactly the same as the other ones, although he has a visor on it, although his chest and back printing is a little bit different. Up there at the top left of his chest, he has that little symbol that marks him as a captain, and then on his back he has a white jetpack printed onto him. Why didn't LEGO just use a physical white jetpack for him like they did for the others? I don't know. Now these two sets have vastly different figures, although I'm gonna have to favor the Kashyyyk Troopers more. The set is just overall better for army building, as you get 2 identical pairs of each trooper, and also there is a vast amount of Kashyyyk Troopers shown in episode 3 during the Battle of Kashyyyk compared to the few 332nd Troopers that were shown in season 7 of the Clone Wars. Another thing is that in my opinion the Kashyyyk Troopers just overall look better. I know they're a lot different, but they're more unique and the printing is just a lot more appealing, and obviously they don't have those helmet holes. Although one significant upgrade to the 332nd Troopers is that they include actual guns instead of those massive stud shooters, but that doesn't really have anything to do with the figures themselves, that's just accessories. Now moving on to the actual models themselves, they are different colors, but they are supposed to be representing the same vehicle in Star Wars. Starting off with the 2014 version, you get a pretty nice looking model, but it's also kind of lacking as there's not very many play features. Really the only thing is that the propeller on the back can move side to side, and then obviously these front pieces right here can fold up and down to allow you to put your figures in there. And then it has the Republic color scheme being gray and dark red, with just this one straight piece going in the middle that is supposed to be the spine of the ship. And then on the bottom you're going to have these little rounded tile pieces that sort of just allow it to slide on hard surfaces. And like I said, you can load your figures in on either side. They have some room in there and it looks pretty nice. And if you didn't notice, there are no guns on the front of the swamp speeder, so instead of actually putting guns on the front of it, LEGO's solution to this was just to have 2 clips on the front that hold the troopers' blasters. That's supposed to double as a place to put their guns and be guns on the front of the ship, but I think this just looks kind of stupid. I wish it would have just had guns on the front. Now moving on to the 2023 version, there is definitely a lot more playability, especially this little stud shooter cannon that is included that is actually pretty fun to play with. And then taking a look at the model, it looks overall a lot better. And the first thing you might notice is that there are guns on the front, which is automatically an upgrade, although there are no tile pieces on the bottom to allow it to move on a surface, so it does get scratched up, and I mean mine already has gotten scratched up a little bit as you can see here. But regardless, the actual model looks really good and I'm really impressed with it. There's just a lot more shaping, there's a lot more rounded pieces, and it just looks more compact and accurate. Although one downside is that the engine on the back cannot twist side to side like the old one can. So that's really the only thing the older one has over this model. And obviously if you didn't notice, notice this one is blue and gray and not red and gray. And obviously, like the older one, you can load both your figures in on either side, although they are a little bit cramped in this one compared to the older one, as it's not as roomy. And then on the back here, there are places to hold their blasters, as well as the guns on the front of the ship that I mentioned earlier, which is again just automatically an upgrade. And both of these builds are almost the same size, the older one being a little bit bigger, but it's also a little bit blander. There's not as much detail on it, and again, there's not as many play features. So I think it's clear that the build is going to have to go to the 2023 version. It just has super accurate shaping, and it's really impressive that they did it in such a small scale. And if you want to make it the right color scheme, it's obviously easy to modify, as you just replace the blue pieces with dark red pieces. Now moving on to the most important category, which is the overall value. The Kashyyyk Troopers released in 2014 for $13 with 99 pieces, making their price per piece 13.1 cents, although with inflation adjusted, $13 back then is about $16 today, which would make its price per piece with inflation adjusted about 16 cents, compared to the $20 332nd Troopers Battle Pack with 108 pieces, making its price per piece 18.5 cents. So I think it's clear that the value is going to have to go to the older version. You can't even make the argument that the newer one is overpriced due to inflation, as with inflation adjusted, the older one is still only $16 today. So that just proves that battle packs today are way overpriced, although you are getting a more realistic and modern build. Now it's kind of hard for me to decide which set is better, as they are pretty good in their own ways. Obviously the Kashyyyk Trooper Battle Pack won 2 out of the 3 categories, with it having an overall better value and better minifigures in my opinion, even though the 332nd Troopers, despite the helmet holes, are still pretty good as they have pretty good prints. And also the 332nd Battle Pack just has a really amazing build that is just such an upgrade from the older version. So this is really hard for me, but I'm gonna have to give the older version a 9 out of 10 and the newer version an 8 out of 10, making the older version just a little bit better, although the build on the newer version is absolutely incredible. Let me know what you guys think about these sets and which one is your favorite, and if you want to check out more of my videos, you can see them on the end screen right now.